So, Kevin,
Here we are.
we're back at it.
We're back at it.
This is our fourth bike tour together, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Kevin and I met in 2012, right?
In Switzerland.
In Switzerland. We did
Yep.
the Bike Switzerland Challenge Tour together, which is a cross-country trip across Switzerland. Then we kind of bonded because we're both vegetarians, I think, on the trip. That was one of the things, so they always put us together.
Yep.
And then the second trip was, you talk about that, that was your idea.
The second trip was Taiwan.
Yeah.
Yeah, where Taiwan just came out of the blue into my mind. I just thought it'd be a good place to cycle and read a bit about it and thought, yeah, why not? So we had a month there, which was sensational, I thought.
Yeah, it was really good. And like, I never would have gone to Taiwan if you had not suggested it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it worked out well. Then 2 years ago, we did a month and a half together on the road through Portugal, Spain, and France.
Yep.
Right? And then now this is our fourth trip together, and we're going to go.
It's getting to be a habit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so this trip, we're going to go across the Czech Republic, maybe Austria, Hungary, Slovakia,
Yep.
and maybe a small portion of Poland too.
Sure.
So that whole area.
Yep.
How did you learn about bike touring? Like, how did you get into that?
Well, I had an inclination when I was about 9 years old. I rode my bike out from where I lived in Sydney, in the suburbs. And I remember riding out a dirt, it was sort of a gravel road out for a few miles. And I pulled up at the top of a hill, and I can remember looking out, and it was the first time I'd ridden so far away from home. And I remember on the top of this hill looking out and thinking, such a big world, this is fantastic. I'm so glad that I rode this far,
Yeah.
And I think the seed was always there about this ever expanding world, that you can actually get to on a bike.
Yeah.
You jump on the bike and, go over the next hill and it's all different. You go over the next hill, it's all different. Sensational. It's never left.
But to go from that to an actual bike tour like we're doing now,
Yep.
when was the first bike tour?
The first bike tour, I spent a lot of years doing bushwalking tours, walking in the bush.
Yeah.
And then I think as my family grew up and I had, more and more time available, I just began to think more and more about what else can I do, bike touring or what else, and I thought, right, bike touring, looks like bike touring. So I started to experiment a little bit with the bike, and then the Bike Switzerland tour came up and I thought, yep, so I jumped in on that.
So that really was like your first bike touring experience?
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you had done something before.
No, not
Overnight tour, yeah.
No, I hadn't. Most of the overnight stuff I've done has been through bushwalking, through being out in the bush, carrying stuff in and camping, and so I was no stranger to camping or whatever. But yeah, the Bike Switzerland thing was the first real dedicated cycling tour that I did.
Right. Yeah, that's cool. You're from Australia, obviously.
Yep.
Yeah.
How can you tell?
Yeah. But all like our trips have been in all these different countries. What how do you pick a destination? How did we pick this destination, for example? Do you know?
No, I don't really know how it comes about. It's just an idea, isn't it? Just a name comes into the mind and you just start to think, well, what about this or what about that or what about... And something just seems to click.
Yeah.
And you just think, yeah, this sounds good. And I knew you were going to be in Europe about this time anyway. And it seemed like Czech Republic, and then from, wherever we go to from here, seemed like just a good idea. The difference between this tour and some of the other tours is that we've been pretty much destination focused with some of them. Like a couple of years ago when we were in Spain and so on, I had to be back in the north of Holland on a particular date to get the bike back to the factory. And sure, I have to be back to fly home, but this one we're sort of meandering around a little bit more, just taking it a bit more easy, relaxing a bit more. We're not trying to do the big Ks every day.
Right. Well, I know why I wanted to come back here. I didn't know if you knew why I wanted to come back here. Because in 2012, 12, I rode my bike from like Istanbul, Turkey, up through Bulgaria, Romania, Ukraine, Moldova, and then I finished the year in Poland. And then in 2013, in the winter time, like January, I rode my bike from Krakow, Poland, into Slovakia and the Czech Republic, and then back into Poland, all during basically the month of January. And it was snowing and freezing cold, and there were no other bikers anywhere to be seen. But I actually really enjoyed that trip, even though it was in the wintertime and really difficult. And when I was out on the road, I saw all these signs for bike routes when I was out there, and I kept that in the back of my mind, and I thought, man, this would be an amazing place to come back to during the summertime. And so that was in 2013. It's 2018, 5 years later or whatever.
Taking a while.
But now we're back, and so hopefully I'm looking forward to seeing these two countries, the Czech Republic and Slovakia, during the summertime, because I've never really seen them in that way. So that's why I wanted to come back here.
And for me, I mean, I've never been to Eastern Europe before, so I've travelled a lot in Europe, but I've never been to Eastern Europe before. But so this is my first time in.
So all of these countries are new to you?
It's all new to me. Absolutely new to me.
So you speak no Czech, no Slovakian,
none whatever.
German,
no,
Hungarian,
no,
nothing. Okay. Yeah.
So we'll just get by as best we can.
Yeah, I think so. Is there?
Which always seems to work. I mean, I think one of the things about bike touring is that if you approach it in the right spirit, you're kind of there to be, you're not there to sort of, teach anybody anything or tell them what to do. You're there to just absorb and participate and have fun. And if you can communicate that kind of thing, people just respond. If you smile at people and you're friendly, then people will always help you out, no matter where you are. So language is a limitation, sure, but not as big a limitation as sometimes it's made out to be.
Yeah, so many people let that little thing stop
them from doing something.
Yeah. I mean, if you're deaf or something, you can still communicate.
Exactly.
And that's basically how I am when I travel. It's like I'm deaf and mute. It's like I can't hear you and I can't say anything.
But we'll find a way through.
Exactly. Yeah. So, looking back at all of the trips that we've done together, what has been your favorite moment?
Oh boy, there's been lots of favourite moments. I mean, it's hard to say really what was a favourite moment. I've enjoyed all of them. I think all of them had something that was really that took me by surprise. That kind of captured me a little bit. Excited me a little bit. And it could have been something simple like just finding a really nice place to camp at night and just just eating a simple meal of whatever I had in the pannier at the time, which might have been just baguettes and tomatoes or something, but just feeling a bit exhausted and having a little bit of food and being out in the middle of the bush and just little things like that just the small things have always sort of captured me rather than I can go and look at Eiffel Towers or, and I think, okay, right, it's sensational, but, I want more.
Yeah.
And I want more of the simple things.
I've felt that way. I think about my own bike trips in that, like you said, like the Eiffel Tower, once I finally saw it in person, I was like, okay, cool,
Yeah, what's next? Yeah.
But I've been to small towns that you've never heard of, and I think are amazing, So, I think that happens a lot when you're bike touring. For me, maybe one of my favorite moments when you and I traveling together was biking up to Sun Moon Lake, in Taiwan.
Yep.
It was like a 2-day bike ride up this really steep hill, and we were biking in fog to where you could like barely see the person in front of you and cars passing and stuff. So it was really hard to get there. Then we got there and had like an amazing hotel overlooking the lake, and we found this like Buddhist vegetarian restaurant that served me something that looked like green slime, but it turned out to be like the best thing I ate in Taiwan. And we went there 3 nights in a row, if I remember correctly.
With the monks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The Buddhist monks were eating there. And then the following day we biked down, down that giant gorge down to the ocean. I think that was like some of our best days on the road for me. I don't know. Yeah. Combination of like really hard with like really good downhills. It was good. Yeah. And good food and everything.
And I think some of the best days too, paradoxically, some of the best days, when you've got a bit of adversity, like the fog and so forth, when you're talking about going up Wuling and all that. But, in Spain when I had that crook back, that bad back that just sort of came out of the blue.
Kevin woke up this morning with a sore back, and so we're in this tiny little town. I don't even know what it's called. We found a little supermarket, and I asked the woman in my best Spanish if they had Tylenol, but she said no, and there's a pharmacy across the street. But when we came by earlier, just 10 minutes ago, the pharmacy wasn't open. But now, 10 minutes later, it is, so Kevin's inside trying to get some relief for his back pain.
Hey, Kevin?
Bit of Nurofen, ibuprofen.
How was it? Did the guy speak English?
No, but he took one look at me and said, you need some ibuprofen.
Okay.
He's pretty intuitive about these things.
Yeah.
And in a way, it was kind of really intensely painful, but it was also, I just had to get on the bike and go every day and keep going, and we just kept going and kept pushing, and in a way, I could see the humour of that too. It's sort of, I found it funny some days. I'd sort of be just pedaling along by myself, and I'd just be thinking, what am I doing out here? And I'm in the middle of nowhere, and I've got a crook back, and I can barely kind of, get the wheels going. But I could see the humour in that too, and just the craziness of it, really. Bike touring just throws those sort of things up at you all the time.
Well, this is where you and I differ, because if I had the hurt back, I'd just be saying expletives the whole time and like crying and want to go home. You know what I mean? You somehow always twist things to have a positive outlook. I think you do.
Yeah, well, maybe. I just sort of think, well, that's what I'm being dealt with. That's what the universe has dealt me at the time, and I've got to have a laugh about it. If I can't have a laugh about it, then even the painful back.
Yeah. But a lot of times, like, I'll be bitching and moaning out on the road, and kind of like that's my way of like getting it out. Is like, okay, well, once I complain about it, then I can move past it a little bit or something. But you take like the opposite approach, which is, I'm just going to be happy no matter what. Basically, I can't even walk right now, but I'm happy. You know what I mean? Yeah. Where does that come from?
Well, I'm 70 years old, and I think the best bit of advice. Well, people say, how do you keep fit and how do you do this? And I just say, well, my first response is like don't die. Just keep going, take the next breath, and enjoy stuff. And I think, well, if I've got a bit of adversity on the bike, well, that's okay. I can live with that. At least I'm out here and I'm doing it. You know what I mean? I'm on the bike, and I'm still pedaling, and I'm still ripping up mountains and doing all sorts of stuff. So, if a little bit of adversity comes my way, well, I'll just accept that. It's just part of the whole deal. That's just my age. That's just how it is. You got to be philosophical at my age.
I could see that. But a lot of people, as they get older, get grumpier and all. You know what I mean? Grumpy old man.
Well, my wife would probably say I'm a grumpy old man. I try not to be. Not always successfully, but I try not to be.
Speaking of your wife, how does she let you go off on these long tours? Because so many of my Bicycle Touring Pro readers write to me and they say like, I'm retired and I want to go off on this trip, but my husband or my wife or family or whatever won't let me go for more than 2 days,
Yeah, well, my wife and I have been married for 45 years, and we've always had an understanding that if something's really important that either of us want to do, then we'll negotiate it through. We'll work out a way we can do it. So if I say I want to do a bike tour, my wife says, yeah, sure, when's that, and how can we fit it in, and what does that mean? And similarly, if she wants to go overseas with some of her old nursing pals and so forth, I just sort of say, okay, right, when's that and how's it work? So it's never been an issue. I've just,
You just married the right person.
just married, and she married the right person too, in that sense, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
She's able to just, we do a lot of stuff together, but she also does a lot of stuff separately. And I do the bike touring. She's not interested in doing this sort of style of bike touring that I do.
Yeah.
So, or the bushwalking for that matter, years ago. So we just live with that. Quite harmoniously.
You're doing your thing and she's doing her thing.
And there's no tension whatsoever.
Yeah.
No,
And then you
no
do
tension.
have things that you do together.
We do have things that we do together.
Yeah.
Yeah. We plan. We plan them well in advance, and everybody knows we take the we've got kids and grandkids. We take that into consideration when we're planning these things.
Yeah.
So that nobody feels that Dad's away and he should have been here for 3 birthdays or 3 anniversaries or something. I always try and work it around the important family things that are obviously important to me as well.
Yeah.
So it works well.
Cool. Well, this is trip number 4. We're going to have some company on the first week or so.
Yep.
Then we'll be off on our own together after that. Anything you want to say here at the beginning of the trip? We're going to do more interviews like this as we go along.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to this. As I said earlier, the difference between this trip and some of the others has been we're just going to take this one really much easier and much steadier, and just feel free to meander around, to digress, to do different things.
Yeah.
To go up that road instead of that road.
Yeah.
Now, I'm looking forward.
You're acting like you're going to be pretty open to just anything.
Yeah.
Does that include like me sleeping past 7 o'clock?
Absolutely.
Or
You can sleep until 10 o'clock if you want.
what about that 11 a.m. coffee break that you like to have?
Look, if you're still asleep, I'll sit down and have a coffee and come back.
Oh, good. Okay. Kevin likes his coffee at 11 a.m. sharp.
Yeah, I like that coffee in the morning.
So many of my readers, when I told them that we're planning the trip together, they have messaged me and said like, "Oh boy, are you ready for Kevin's 11 a.m. coffee break? Are you going to be able to handle it?" Yeah. Oh no, that's my.
Well, I usually only have one a day, you see, so I like to really make it an occasion.
Yeah. I know, but it's just like, why right then at 11? That's just your time.
Just the time.
Yeah. Okay. I see. All right. Well, that was good for day number 1.
Day number 1. We just got here.
Yeah, you made it
We're
from
both jet
Australia.
lagged and a bit tired and a bit whacked, but
Yeah.
tomorrow's another day.
Tomorrow you will get your new bicycle.
Get the
Michael
bike.
will arrive. Then Lene will arrive the day after that, and the day after that we will leave
We'll leave Prague.
Prague and start heading towards Vienna.
Somewhere probably south towards the
Yeah.
towards
South
Vienna.
towards Vienna.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Done.
Brilliant. Talk some more.
Yeah.